For part B of this week's assignment, we were given a topic, and mine was the Equal Pay Act. We had to discuss it in part A, and now in part B we have to give a court case study of what happened, and I went with the Corning Glass Works versus Brennan of 1974, and it was one of the first court cases under the Equal Pay Act. Inside the company, male employees had previously performed night shift inspections on the materials themselves, and they were paid more than females who performed the day shift inspections. At first, all women were responsible for inspections until 1925, when they implemented a night shift. Women were not allowed to work night shift positions at that time, so all those jobs were given to men. Later, that law was amended, and women were permitted to work at night, and women inside the company were eligible to bid on the higher paying night positions as the vacancies occurred. The problem started when labor laws in New York and Pennsylvania didn't allow women to work night shift jobs where their two plants were located. And due to the emergence of automated machinery, the need for a night shift to keep up with production occurred. But men saw inspection work as inferior work for women, like making a sandwich, and would not do the job unless they were paid more money to help with their egos. They were given higher pay, and in June of 1966, Corning began to allow women to get the higher paid night shift jobs, and in 1969, Corning signed an agreement to pay both day and night shift the same amount of money, but with a backdoor policy for night shift workers hired before January of 1969. Those workers, whom were all men, received much higher pay. The argument in court Corning made was that there were different working conditions because working at night was less desirable, and that it was also based upon seniority. The lawsuit was filed by the U.S. Secretary of Labor in both New York and Pennsylvania, charging Corning with the violation of the Equal Pay Act and wanting Corning to give all inspectors the same pay. And after the trials and appeals, the Federal Court of Appeals in New York ruled in favor of the United States, while the Pennsylvania courts ruled in favor of Corning. It was sent to the Supreme Court for review, and they ruled that if the work performed on the day shift was equal to that of the men on the night shift, that the company is obligated to pay the same base salary to all of their workers. So even though they were working a different shift, they were doing the same job. And because women weren't permitted at the time, before that hiring date, they couldn't just get away with doing it that way. They couldn't just say, well, all these people that were hired before this date, that's the reason why they were getting paid more, because women weren't permitted to work at that time. So the Supreme Court of Appeals ruled that everybody under that umbrella of that job title should get the same amount of pay regardless if they're male or female, night shift, day shift, or whatnot.